Hello everybody and welcome to my shop. This is going to be a quick demonstration slash show off video of some new test equipment that I have recently received and put into service here in my shop. I apologize for the lack of electronics related videos lately. I was getting my shop reorganized, cleaned up a little bit, and with the addition of my new equipment I should have a lot more videos to come, as well as a lot more repair slash restoration projects. And here's a sneak peek of one of those now. That's right, that's a 1920s RCA Radiola Model 20 radio receiver. Now back to the equipment. Up here on my top shelf, which I'm going to zoom in on, I have recently gotten a Heathkit regulated high voltage DC power supply. This is a very nice supply in my shop that is fully capable of powering up vacuum tubes and vacuum tube circuits directly from my bench. It has a C- voltage output for bias voltage on tubes. It provides a 6.3 volt 4 amp output for tube filaments, which has plenty of power to run multiple tubes. And most importantly, it provides a 0 to 400 volts B plus output. And it is capable of providing up to 100 milliamps continuous current draw and up to 120 and up to 150 milliamps of current, but you can't operate that for very long. So that's what that is. It's basically up to 100 milliamps of current and up to 400 volts. So that's very handy for operating various pieces of equipment, building your own circuits, powering up vacuum tubes, and making experiments and troubleshooting things as well. I also have recently gotten a Heathkit audio generator. This is also a very nice piece of equipment to have in my shop, as it allows me to generate audio signals all the way down to 20 hertz and I believe up to 200 kilohertz. I forget its exact peak output, but it's a pretty powerful little generator, and it has a 600 ohm internal load switch on it, so I can provide an internal load. Next to that, now this equipment is not new, but it's what I've had before. We'll just go over it here. I have my RCA Voltohmist vacuum tube voltmeter that's been restored and calibrated. Next to that, I have a little 12 volts 3 amp fixed power supply, regulated. I have my trusty triplet 631 VTVM/VOM. I just use it for the VOM function. Across from that, or next to the audio generator, I have my Knight RC tester, which is a resistance and capacitance bridge. Next to that, I have my Heathkit capacity checker, which is basically an in-circuit capacitor checker that I don't really use it because I have my nice RC bridge right next to it that does a much more comprehensive test on leakage and capacitance as well as resistance values. Above that, we have my Precision Apparatus Company Model G30 RF signal generator. I don't use this one as much because I have a Heathkit RF signal generator that's been restored and calibrated, and that's the main generator that I use. And then I also have my signal tracer, which is also a Heathkit that you can see right there. I use that when I need to trace out signals. Now, probably the most featureful and most important addition to my shop is, you guessed it, an oscilloscope. That's right, I have an oscilloscope. It is a Tektronix Model 466 storage oscilloscope. And this is a up to 100 megahertz scope, which is very nice for radio work. And this scope works great. Let's turn it on, and I'm going to give you a brief demonstration of it. Okay, the scope is now powered on. I have it set to channel 2 because of the way it's positioned under my bench. That's the easiest channel to get to. And you can see we get a nice trace. Now, I don't currently have a proper scope probe, so I'm going to just use this RF connector, which I use for my signal generators, and we're going to hook it up to the audio generator to be able to input a signal to give you a quick demo of this scope. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the audio generator directly to the scope. And now, when I get this on film here, I'm going to connect the scope right up to the input. Or I'm sorry, the audio generator to the input of the scope. So we're going to go right into channel 2. Okay, the scope has been connected to the audio generator, so I'm going to get a signal outputted on the audio generator. I already have it set to produce a tone. Get a little modulation going there, and we'll go ahead and look at our waveform. see if I can get you in a little bit closer to demo this. Bear with me. Alright, there's our waveform. So I'm going to go ahead real quick and zoom out the signal. Let me get over here and we'll change our couple of our settings. There. So you can see right there we have a nice sine wave being outputted by the generator. Now this generator produces really nice clean sine waves, therefore it's very easy for me to set signals and such to be outputted. So we'll change our, we can zoom in a little bit closer on it there. You can see we have scale illumination to illuminate the scale, and you can see our volts per, or our time per division. We can go all the way slow or we can zoom right in on it. And we have our volts per division, which we can change the volts per division setting on the scope. We have a vertical position control, we can move the waveform up and down. And we have horizontal position as well as some triggering controls. So that's all I really have for you at this particular moment. I just wanted to give a quick demonstration of that new scope that I got and my other new equipment. Because I'm going to have some nice videos coming pretty soon that's going to start to employ this equipment a little bit, doing various experiments and things. And I just wanted to kind of give you a general overview on the current state of my shop. So you can see down there is where I keep my Variac. I have my Hickok 533 tube tester next to it. And back over here I've got my other two tube testers as well as another Tektronix 466, which that one doesn't work, so I'm just using it as a parts unit. But you can see there's my other two tube testers that aren't normally being used because I have the nice Hickok. So we have the tube tester down there, we got the scope, nicely positioned there. We have my little vise on the right that I'll be able to use when I'm working on soldering wires and for holding various things. And then you can see the layout of my equipment. So I think that everything is pretty nicely laid out here in my shop, and I hope you appreciate this quick little tour video of the current conditions of my shop. And I think this new equipment that I got is going to make a definitely nice addition to being able to do further troubleshooting and experimental work with various radios, vacuum tube projects, benchtop tube testers, as well as things like that that I can actually build to measure mutual conductance of tubes and things like that. So that's just going to be a quick overview of this equipment, and I'm sure this equipment will be very nicely utilized in my shop for upcoming projects, such as working on this Radiola 20, which I think that's a very nice radio. I already checked a couple of the tubes in it and they're good, so eventually I'm going to get some progress going on that. And that's about it. Before I end this video, I want to give a quick shout out to my friend Shane Haas. He's been wanting a shout out on my channel for the longest time, and I have previously forgotten to include that. So here's to you, Shane Haas. Thank you very much for being such a loyal and kind friend to me, and it's always enjoyable going to your house and working on welding things and practicing with some stuff, and I always learn something every time I'm over there. So once again, Shane, when you watch this, thank you very much for always being such a good friend to me. I really appreciate it. So that's really about it. I just wanted to give a quick overview of this stuff, and I hope you guys appreciate the effort that I put into my channel and acquiring new equipment to be able to make these videos and keep this hobby alive. It's a very enjoyable hobby to be able to participate in, and I always learn something whenever I'm working on my equipment. So once again, thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope you all stay safe and have a nice weekend out there, everybody. See you soon.